What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel and the end of another month. How is it already June? Seriously, how is it already June? So, like always, let's do another monthly ranking of every single film I saw during the month of May 2025. Like I did with the last monthly ranking video, I included films that were not released in that certain month. And that's what I'm going to do here. There were some films that came out during other months that I did not see until May. So I'm going to talk about them here today. So yeah, if you guys love monthly ranking videos, all that good stuff, movie reviews, watch-alongs, live streams, hangouts, and all that, hit that subscribe button down below and that notification bar right next to it so you never miss a post. Hit that thumbs up and share this video. You guys know what to do. Anyways, let's begin. Forgot to mention before we got started that I have 16 movies here to rank for this monthly ranking video. So number 16, I have Fear Street Prom Queen. This movie sucked. Okay? And this is coming from somebody who enjoyed the sequels to Fear Street. Fear Street 1977, or was it 1978? And then 1666 was part 3. I enjoyed those sequels. I didn't care for the first one all that much. I thought it was okay, a disposable slasher flick. But this one, I was actually kind of excited about, kind of a Fear Street version of Prom Night, which seemed pretty interesting. Oh my god, this one was a sinking ship from the moment it started. Now look, there actually are some good kills, and I think the soundtrack is good. But the movie itself is really bogged down with really bad acting, a really bad script, and god-awful reveals that made no sense. Coming in at number 15, speaking of really bad streaming movies, we've got Fountain of Youth. Now, this seems like one of those films that in concept sounds really cool, and you also have a good cast on your belt here. With this one, you got John Krasinski, you got Natalie Portman, Isa Gonzalez, and Domhnall Gleeson. A good cast on your belt, and you also have a really good director in Guy Ritchie, who is one of my favorite filmmakers working today. I love Guy Ritchie. This film felt like the films like The Family Plan and The Electric State that I feel are AI generated. Like movies that don't actually feel like movies that just come out on streaming. Like surprises on streaming is what I'm trying to say. Like these just feel like movies that makes sense, like why they were just made directly for streaming. That's this movie. Now, number 14 is a movie where you guys are going to be like, why'd you watch this? Well, I watched it just out of pure curiosity, and plus, there's another film we're going to talk about here later on this list that I actually enjoyed for what it was. And this one, it's not good, but it's got some entertainment value. Mouseboat Massacre. Definitely one of those public domain slasher flicks. Like public domain exploitation slasher flicks, A childhood icon has become a slasher killer. Another Steamboat Willie kind of movie. My biggest gripe with this one, though, aside from some pretty bad acting, of course, and some kills that I wish were more visible and also a really rough script, why didn't this movie actually take place on a boat? That's one of my big gripes with this movie. Why didn't it take place on a boat when it's called Mouseboat Massacre? Think about that for a second. But overall, the film is, it's harmless, honestly. I mean, it's nothing it's not a bad film. I mean, it technically is a bad movie, but it's got some entertainment value. It's not the worst thing I've ever seen. Number 13, if you ever think of one of those films that is just, to put into 3 simple words, not for me, that's this one, Ash. I love Isa Gonzalez and Aaron Paul together in this film. I think they actually are really good together, and I think the visuals are incredible. The visuals are absolutely incredible. And Flying Lotus's vision, I respect his ambition because I actually really enjoyed his short that he did for VHS 99. But this movie felt very drawn out and just a bit too out there for my liking. So honestly, not a film I ever care to revisit, and just, I don't know, not a movie for me. Number 12, a pretty disappointing one, all things considered with this one, Karate Kid Legends. Now, this is also coming from somebody who just finished up Cobra Kai. I loved Cobra Kai, the television show, and of course, I love the original Karate Kid. I enjoy the remake with Jackie Chan and Jaden Smith, but it's not great. I also do enjoy the two films after the original Karate Kid, Karate Kid Part 2 and Part 3. Enjoyable films. And I don't really like the next Karate Kid at all. This one throws in this whole boxing subplot that just makes no sense, like, for this type of movie. I mean, it was interesting, I guess, but it just felt like it was like, hey, let's see what we can throw at the wall and see what will stick. And then when you actually get to the whole karate tournament, like towards the end of this film, like, it feels shoehorned. And it was great to see Ralph Macchio in this again, but it felt like he was there for the paycheck, in all honesty. Jackie Chan and Ben Wong, I think, are honestly good in this movie. But also the editing during these fight scenes was nauseating. Like, so many cuts, like, in between, like, certain takes. It's the laziest way of filming an action scene to me, or just even a fight scene. Like, I like some good shaky cam. Like, take some notes from Monkey Man. Like, Monkey Man had a lot of shaky cam, but at least for most of it, you could see what was happening. In this one, you can still see what's happening, but the cuts, like the editing, is so all over the place in this one. So, yeah, as a casual fan of Karate Kid, this was still disappointing. So, can't recommend it. All right, number 11. Another pretty disappointing movie, in my opinion, given the story that it's based on. It's actually based on a true story. This is a movie called The Luckiest Man in America, starring Paul Walter Hauser as a guy who gets onto the game show Press Your Luck in the 1980s and continuously is just winning money. That things start to grow a little suspicious. And look, it's a really interesting story, like, conceptually, but watching the movie, this kind of felt like the more hollow version of what the story could have been. Now look, great production design, great acting. There's some really good acting in here, and really good cinematography. Like, let me give you that. There's some really good cinematography. The story for this, honestly, really could have been improved upon. And I wish the film was actually, like, you know, longer rather than just 90 minutes. To kind of give a bit more of a fleshed out version of this story. I think it would have really improved this movie. But hey, for 90 minutes, it's watchable, mainly for Paul Walter Hauser's performance, but as an overall movie, could have been so much better. At number 10, speaking of movies that could have been a lot better, I mean, now we're kind of getting to the echelon of good movies right here. Like, ones that I'd say are good. So I got number 10, Clown in the Cornfield. Now, this is directed by Eli Craig, the guy that did Tucker and Dale vs. Evil, which is one of my favorite horror comedies of all time. This one, it seemed good, given its concept, another clown slasher, which I'm always up for because I love the Terrifier movies. And with this one, I will say this. There is some really good kills in here. There is good performances, of course. There is some good performances. I like how they kind of flip the story on its head, and like the slasher genre kind of on its head here a little bit. Like, after 30 minutes, it becomes a bit more interesting. Like, it's just after like the first 30 minutes is like your typical slasher movie setup. But like, I really like how they kind of flip the genre on its head, where it's actually like, multiple people and not just like, 2 or 3. It's multiple people being Friendo the Clown. It's interesting. But when it comes down to like the whole killer reveal thing, the identities and the motivations of the killer, I thought was not good at all. That is a common problem I've been having with a lot of slashers lately, is the motivations and the identities of the killer. It doesn't work. Like, they're not really, becoming clear motivations to me. Like, you take notes out of the movie Thanksgiving, which I absolutely love. The motivations were clear. But with films like this and Hell of a Summer and Hard Eyes, the motivations just become very unclear. But I will say, I really liked our main girl who played as Quinn. I think that's her character's name. She was really good here. And it was nice to see Kevin Durant in this one, even though I wish he was in it longer. But this was a fun movie. All right, at number 9, this is a movie that everybody has been hyping up in the horror community, and I gotta say, it's good. Not anywhere near as good as people are making it out to be. The Ugly Stepsister. This is a movie that people are like, hyping up and likening to The Substance. I don't think it's quite on that level. I think, honestly, the pacing of this movie really hurts it, and I just don't like the way the movie wraps up. But other than that, though, this is a nasty movie right here. Like, really gory stuff in here. Some really solid acting and awesome cinematography here. But the movie itself as a whole, I don't like the way that it wraps up. The pacing really hurts it, and I don't think I'll ever watch this movie again. Like, it's solid, but it's not a movie I would tend to gravitate towards. Coming in at number 8 is another Shudder exclusive film that I decided to check out on a whim because I've been hearing a lot of good things about it, and this was another solid one, The Rule of Jenny Penn. This one is really worth watching for the performance of John Lithgow and Geoffrey Rush as well. I think their performances honestly make the film watchable, and definitely what it is. And there is some really solid tension in here and some really solid scares. Another issue that I have with this film, just like the Ugly Stepsister, the pacing. The pacing at points feels very, very uneven. But I actually like the way that the film wrapped up. It was really interesting with what they decided to do. But again, not a film I would really tend to gravitate towards or really watch again. But it was a solid one-time watch, for sure. It's a movie where it's I watched it, I enjoyed it, I move on in life. Coming in at number 7. Now, when I was talking about Mouseboat Massacre, this was the other film I was referring to that I actually really, really enjoyed for what it was. That is Screamboat. David Howard Thornton as Steamboat Willie makes this movie what it is. It makes it more fun with his antics, and the fact that they didn't just make him, a human-sized looking mouse. He is a tiny looking guy, a tiny looking mouse when it comes to, you look at his design for Steamboat Willie, he is really tiny. And I think that was what they were really trying to go for here, really lean into the concept here of a childhood icon becoming a slasher killer. They really leaned into that concept and made it what it is. It's a silly concept, and they leaned into it. And look, the script and the acting, not good at all. But the kills and David Howard Thornton's performance as Steamboat Willie makes the film what it is. And also there's some really solid humor in here with some of these Disney puns and all that, I think actually make the film even better. It's a really clever film with what they try to come up with. And the fact that it actually comes from the team that made Terrifier 2 and 3 makes this film honestly a little bit more fun to watch. Because you know what you're getting into. So if you guys were kind of a bit iffy on these public domain exploitation slasher flicks, give this one a try because this is a really fun movie. At number 6 is a movie I actually just watched last night to cap off this list because I wanted to kind of beef up the list a little bit, so I checked this one out. That is The Legend of Ochi. This was a really solid and really adorable film, and the fact that Ochi was actually, used with actual puppets and not just, CGI'd was really cool. The film is gorgeous to look at, for sure. There's some really good performances here. I just don't think the film hit the emotional gut punch as the filmmakers were wanting you to feel. It doesn't quite have that emotional, gut punch for it. It's still really good, but it just doesn't quite have that gut punch that they were trying to go for. But overall, really, really good movie. And also, another thing, very derivative story, like How to Train Your Dragon. You've seen it before, but still really good movie from A24. And this movie continues to prove why I think they might be one of, if not the best studio working right now. Coming in at number 5, we have Lilo and Stitch. This was a really, really adorable film. Now, I grew up watching the original Lilo and Stitch. It's a great film. It wasn't one of those Disney films that I watched on repeat, even though when I was in high school, kids my age would be talking about that movie constantly. They would definitely be talking about that movie. They'd be talking about Lilo and Stitch all over the place, which I can't blame them because it's a great movie. And then they decided to do a live action one, and I was like, oh man, I don't know what they're gonna do. The look of Stitch came out, and I was like, good, you're going in the right direction here. Then you watch the movie, and it's honestly a lot more sweet than I actually was anticipating. But when I heard that it was actually directed by Dean Fleischer Camp, the guy that directed Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, which is a film I love, I actually gained some more excitement for this. And it was a really solid film here. I love the dynamic between Lilo and her sister, and I also loved the dynamics they have with Stitch. And I actually really enjoyed some of our villainous characters. I know some people really question the casting choice of Zach Galifianakis as Jumba, but I thought he was really funny. I just think some of the changes that they try to add in here, especially involving Courtney B. Vance's character as this FBI agent, doesn't really work for this movie. And I kind of feel like at times this film can be kind of drawn out a little bit more, and it's very predictable with where it goes. But as a live action remake, as for someone, even though I really enjoyed Snow White, I kind of have been getting really tired of these live action remakes, coming out left and right. Even though I've liked a lot of them, I've just been kind of getting tired of them. But after this one, I'm like, okay, this is a really solid one. It actually looked like they cared about the source material. Coming in at number 4, we have Final Destination Bloodlines. Now, this was a sequel I was really happy was good as it was, because I really enjoyed the Final Destination films, minus the 4th one, because that 4th film is garbage. But when it was 14 years after 5, I was like, oh god, this is not going to be good. I mean, I was hoping it would be good because they were going for something different here, which I liked. But I wasn't sure if the film would honestly be good because, long delayed sequels, of like horror films or anything like that, don't exactly have the best track record. But this is crazy that this is the highest rated of the franchise on Rotten Tomatoes, and it is my favorite one in the franchise. I really thought they did a really good job fleshing out our characters. It told a really cool, interesting new story to this franchise. Some really solid deaths, for sure, and some really good acting all across the board from our characters. But I think, honestly, what really holds this film back is I think some of these kills are very CGI heavy, and it kind of takes away a little bit, honestly. That was definitely like some of my issues I've had with some of the previous films, that the kills are definitely CGI heavy. But as a Final Destination fan, and as an experience of Final Destination, this was a great one. And wait till you get to that Tony Todd scene. I tried to hold back tears. I was crying during that scene, because I was like, I miss you, Tony Todd. So rest in peace. Coming in at number 3, I thought I was really getting MCU fatigued after Brave New World, but I think Marvel's winning me back with Thunderbolts. Yeah, this was a much more cohesive story than more recent MCU movies. I thought they did a really good job really fleshing out the story, telling these darker themes about mental health. I love these characters. Florence Pugh as Yelena, she's awesome. Lewis Pullman as Bob, he was really funny and also carried in some really good emotional moments as well. Loved seeing Bucky again. Loved seeing the Red Guardian again, played by David Harbour. And also getting to see Wyatt Russell again as John Walker, who I thought was actually one of the stronger parts of Falcon and Winter Soldier. He was definitely one of my favorite performances out of that show. Not quite characters, but performance-wise. And getting to actually see a director's vision for an MCU movie, for Jake Schreier, it actually felt like his vision was actually realized rather than just, going through so many reshoots. It felt like his vision was seen and they were actually happy with how it went. And us audience members were very happy with how this film turned out. So, yeah, I love Thunderbolts. I've seen it in theaters twice now. I wish I could have seen it a third time if my theater didn't pull it. But if you guys are MCU fatigued right now and you need something fresh, like a breath of fresh air for the MCU, go watch Thunderbolts. Number 2, this is a movie I wish I saw on the big screen, but even watching it at home on my 4K TV, I still felt like I was able to get that raw, visceral, gritty experience, and that is Warfare. Oh my god, dude. If Alex Garland can continue to pump out more war films like this and Civil War, he's got my money, because Warfare is honestly one of the best war films I've honestly ever seen. I think it honestly might be the best war film since Hacksaw Ridge. And my God, like taking place entirely during this one day during the Iraq War. And it's also purely based on the memories of some of these soldiers during the Iraq War. And it was even written and directed by a Iraq War veteran with Ray Mendoza, and Alex Garland co-wrote and co-directed the film as well. This just felt so gritty, real, and raw. Like, that a lot of these gunshots are so loud, you're just like, like you're sitting there just like gripping your seat and just like, you're just like, oh my God, like what's gonna happen? Like, you're just in true horror of what you're seeing. But honestly, number one should really come as a surprise to absolutely no one if you guys know me and my love of this franchise. Number one, Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. There was one thing I really needed this year, and it was a satisfying conclusion to the Mission Impossible saga, and this movie gave me that and then some. It was great to see Tom Cruise still kicking it at 62 years old, and I can't express enough how much I love this movie. The stunts were incredible. Love seeing these characters again. Some really awesome practical stunt work. Like, I can't express it enough. Like, if you guys want to see me express my love for this movie, go watch my review. But this is easily one of my favorite movies of the year. Currently, as of right now, as I'm talking, why do you guys care? But it's currently sitting at number 2 for me, only behind Sinners. So this was an excellent movie in my opinion. And if this is truly the last one in the franchise, they really went out with a high note. So yeah, guys, that's it. That is my monthly ranking of May 2025. Every single film I saw. June is looking pretty stacked right here. We got Ballerina, we got The Phoenician Scheme, we got How to Train Your Dragon, 28 Years Later, F1, Megan 2.0, to name but a few. If people were asking for my most anticipated, definitely 28 Years Later and The Phoenician Scheme. I'm definitely looking forward to those two for sure. So, if you guys want to leave your ranking of this month's movies down in the comments below, go ahead and do so and let me know. Hit that subscribe button down below once again and that notification bell right next to it. Hit that thumbs up and share this video. You guys know what to do. Anyways, guys, I'm out of here. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Peace out.